What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button, smack it. Lay the smack down on like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up and the message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you know what you can do? Hold up. Make sure you guys see my little mic. You know what you can do? You can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we can get into whatever you want. Y'all heard the calls before. On topic, off topic, whatever it is, we can get into it. I'm here for it, and I'm down to do it. So you can call in. If for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Joel Friday TV, or go directly to the YouTube live chat, hit the super chat button there, send your question or comments there, and I'll read them live on air. All right? Amazing stuff. Shout out to the chats across the board, YouTube, and all of them. Appreciate it. Christmas is coming up. Lord have mercy. Christmas is like next week. Wait, Christmas literally is a week from tomorrow. What the? Christmas is a week from tomorrow. Incredible. Time flying by. I'm here for it. But let's get into it. What are we talking about today? Shout out IG. Chat the Lion's Den over here on Instagram. I see people in the chat already making conversation. I love it. Amazing stuff. Let's get into it, though. What do we have to talk about today? Man, we got to talk about Christianity. I want to shine some light on the Christian topic, because Lord have mercy, Christianity under fire right now. And I want to shine some light on it because I think that, there's a dark cloud over Christianity right now. It's a dark cloud over Christianity, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions about Christianity that I want to clear up, and what my opinion of it is, right? It's my belief, you know for yourself, but I call myself a Christian. I consider myself as a Christian, but it doesn't have to mean the same thing it means to everybody, right? I believe there's only one way Christianity is represented. I believe that there's only one truth. And I want to speak on that a little bit. And I have some clips to play with for you guys as well about it. But first things first, just briefly, I want to just touch on, I'm not going to really get into it because I didn't do my research on it yet, the school shooting. I haven't done my research on it, so I'm not going to get into it today. But I do just want to say the fact that it was a Christian school, K through 12, kindergarten through 12. It's pretty evident that there is attack on Christianity. And what's getting confused is the line between Christianity itself and the Christian community. Those are two different things, but people treat them as the same, and it's not the same. Those are two different things. There's Christianity, and then there's the Christian community. And the community obviously is the people, right? And the church and things like that. The culture, Christian culture, for a lack of better term. So there's that, and there's a difference. And I want to make that distinction today because I think that is really the biggest misconception about religion in general, is judging the people versus judging the religion itself. So we're gonna get into that. And when it comes to the school shooting thing, you see the girl, it was a Christian school, right? And people do not like Christianity. A lot of people do not like Christianity, and it's because of the community, and it's because of the people who represent it, and maybe mistreating it, misusing it, judging people with it. And it's not an excuse for somebody to shoot up a school with kids in there, but it is a representation of the devil, the enemy, using people to look at God's people, the light, as a threat, and blaming it on false Christianity and everything, and Satan using that in the minds of others to use that as an excuse. Well, Christianity is mean to me, so I get to be mean to them by doing A, B, and C. So it's really the devil's game, and the devil's running the show on this kind of stuff. But I want to kind of shine some light on Christianity itself, and maybe next week or something we'll get into the actual story of the shooter and the school shooting, if it makes sense. You know what I mean? If the Lord leads us to it. But Christianity itself, let's get into it. A lot of you guys know Candace Owens, right? A lot of you guys know who Candace Owens is. She's a Christian conservative. She has a podcast, her own show called Candace. She is married to a man named George Farmer. And he is not in entertainment or anything. He's more behind the scenes. But he's a very well-spoken guy. Candace did an interview with him, right? He went on her show and she interviewed him, and they kind of just were talking. And I didn't see the whole thing. I just seen a little bit of it, and it was a nice little interview. But what I like the most is how very well-spoken this man is. And he explains himself so well, and he made a few points about Christianity that I wanted to share with you guys and kind of expand on what he said. I wanted to. And we kind of go from there. So we'll run through these clips, and then we'll kind of just go from there. Cool? CSAT says, George Washington constantly prayed to God before battle. Christianity built this nation. I'm not familiar too much with that, but I do know that when it comes to America itself, it is founded in Christian values, but also America represents Christianity. And the reason why I say that is not because I read it in a book, but I've just by observation, just by what I see within myself and what I see within things I've learned about certain things. But I do believe this is the Holy Land. America is the Holy Land. And you're blessed if you're born here. And you're also blessed if you come here legally and you assimilate to the values of this country. I don't know really what it is about America, but I do know that it's anointed. Yes, we got all kinds of problems and stuff going on right now. But if you zoom out, I still think that anointance is still prevalent. It's just covered up by a lot of chaos right now. But nonetheless, God has his hand on America, and that's why everybody wants to be here. That's why it's known as the best country in the world, because I believe there's some favor over the land. But with that being said, this is from Candace, George Farmer speaks on the reason as to why young men in Europe are converting to Islam over Christianity. I thought this was pretty interesting. Here we go.
This is because of the UK's advanced secular culture. In some ways, you look at radical Islam in Europe. Well, what's Islam reacting to? Like, why are so many young men in Europe being drawn to Islam? The reason being is because the void. It's the void. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so you've had the churches in Europe, whether it be the Catholic Church or the Protestant churches, they have stripped themselves of true theology. And the Catholic Church in Europe is as guilty as this of anyone else. You've had this progressive, weak, wishy-washy, liberal gospel being preached by, every pastor under the sun. And then you've got this religion which crops up, which shows affirmative action, absolute strength. These are the tenets which appeal to young men, particularly in Europe.
What I found interesting in what he said there is that I believe him to be so correct about that. Because of the fact that simply the point that he makes, really that I believe to be true, is about the void that's missed, that the void that people have and they're looking to fill. That is everybody's story, right? Everyone from the time they come out the womb and they're turned away from God, right, is them now in pursuit of finding and filling the void, right? Finding God within. And in search of that, we pick up all kinds of things, right? All kinds of things. And what we're really looking for is love. Everybody's just looking for love. That's the problem. Everybody's looking for peace. Everybody's looking for that to feel satisfied, to feel complete. And in pursuit of that, we go to religion, right? We try to find the source. We try to find God. And people have all kinds of different names for God now, right? But everybody's looking for the same thing, just caught up in the semantics of words and stuff. Everybody's looking for the same thing. Everybody's looking for God. Everybody's looking for love, right? But when you go to a place like Christianity today, and then you don't get what you're looking for, it makes you reject it. It's as simple as that. And it's also the main reason why atheists are so popular. This is the problem with Christianity. I'm going to get into it. The reason why people love atheists so much is because atheists have this no BS mindset, right? They're more just like, and that's attractive, honestly. They have this like demeanor, whether it's false or whatever, of like, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do. You're not going to tell me how I live my life. And I'm in control of my life, even though it's a false belief that you're in control, right? But there's an attractiveness that comes from that confidence that atheists even pretend to exude, right? Because they're not being subject to the Bible, the pastor, the rules. They're breaking free and doing what they want to do, and that looks more attractive on a person than one who is, I don't know, trying to pretend to be righteous or trying to be nice because you think that niceness is of God. Like, those are real unattractive features that Christianity displays, right? So a lot of people reject Christianity and they go towards atheism, or they go towards Satanism, or they go toward Islam, right? Because I don't know nothing about Islam, but I heard some things and some things be kind of radical, but I don't know if that's like the foundation of Islam or not, whatever, right? But they may reflect a tougher nature. Everybody wants to feel secure. Everybody wants to feel confident. Everybody wants to feel sure of themselves. So anywhere they can go find that, they're going to gravitate to, even if it's in a false way, because at least they can pretend to fill the void. Because not only as Christianity as a community and culture today is not filling the void, it's ugly. You know what I mean? It's not attractive. So not only is it not filling the void, but at least with atheism and all this stuff, it's not filling the void. At least it wants to kind of look tougher. Even when you fake it, it looks a little bit tougher. Right? Like everybody loves the rebellious looking guy, even though he's lost too. But everybody loves the bad boy who just don't care about life and does what he wants because it looks like confidence. It just looks more attractive. But Christianity as a whole, culturally, is not filling the void, but it also, when you wear it, it look ugly. You know what I'm saying? So who wants to be that? Who wants to do that? Nobody. But it's not Christianity itself. It's the community. It's the culture. Moving on. Candace. We don't relate, Joel. Candace, this is from Candace as well. Candace and George and Candace talk about why people are leaving Christianity, right? They talk about why, and I'm going to expand on that more as well. Here we go.
Predominantly in Europe, a lot of the radicalism within Europe is now homegrown. It's not being imported, it's being homegrown. And so this is the key, driving force, is the fact that theology, like Christianity in Europe, has been stripped of its actual truth, its eternal truth. People don't just want a social gospel. They want eternal truth, and they want real faith. They want to be told, this is how you should live your life, right? This is the real meaning of life.
What you're talking about is really just the absence of authority and structure, and people actually crave that in the end. It reminds me of when I hosted Andrew Tate. I want to say it was a couple of years ago, maybe it was last year, but he similarly said, I pressed him on why he left Christianity. Yeah. And the answer he gave, which was very interesting for me to consider, was he basically said Christianity became weak and Christians don't defend themselves. They allow people to disrespect Jesus Christ. And how are people supposed to be drawn to something that has been weak? And obviously startling, upsetting to hear, but he is echoing, I think, what you are speaking to, which is that there does need to be a return to a truer faith.
So this is the part that I disagree about people who leave Christianity. And I understand it as well, because there was one point to where I didn't want to call myself a Christian because of the reputation, but I realized that that's not a good reason not to call yourself a Christian, because of a reputation, right? But the reason where I disagree with people leaving Christianity is because how could you leave something if you know it to be true, right? How could you leave it unless you didn't even really find it? You know what I mean? You didn't really find it, right? What you found was a community of people, maybe on a mass scale, that don't follow what Christianity really is, right? So you rejected the perception of it, or how people treated you who identify with Christianity, but you didn't get to know it for yourself, because if you got to know it for yourself, then that would be your opinion about it, opposed to you still searching for something to make you feel better, right? And that's where I disagree when people leave, is that, like, Why aren't you knowing for yourself? Why aren't you getting to know yourself to find God within? Why do you have to go to these different religions for them to tell you how you should believe? Know this for yourself, right? So when people tell me that they well, don't tell me specifically, but when I hear that, I'm like, well, you didn't even really have it in general. You're mad that they're judging you, right? And they're not upholding Christianity, or they look like a hypocrite or whatever. But yeah, you're judging as well by saying this religion is not for me, right? Because you're not looking for yourself. So that's another thing I disagree with people leaving. And going back to the quick point that it's the community that's the issue. It's the community, right? And I can understand why somebody would not want to go to a church where things seem backwards or where things don't match up with what you. I understand why you would want to leave that, but it's a slippery slope and a fine line to now blame Christianity as a whole. Get to know God within. Get to know God within. Have you ever watched Kingdom of Heaven? I think you would like it. Get to know God within. Okay? Let me get to this last clip and then we'll get to some calls. I see some callers on the line here. If you want to hop in there, hop in there now. There's a couple lines open. 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. I will get to your calls right now. Let me just finish this last sound bite. And we'll go from there. George questions what being a conservative these days actually means. What does it even mean to be a conservative these days, he says. Here we go.
I still, to this day, I think that if you're a conservative or you call yourself a conservative, and that's, even that word is kind of just a bit meaningless in some ways, but if you want to call yourself a conservative on the American right, you have to say, well, what are we seeking to conserve? And you have to say, well, what is fundamentally at the heart of everything that we believe in America, or even in the West, in the world? What is the truth that we are aiming for? And particularly when you get to these kind of radical fringes of politics where you're talking about, the ability of men and women to change their genders, or even the LGBT lobby, or whatever it might be, like whatever it is, whatever these topics are, you start to realize that truth itself is breaking down into like nothing. It's just being destroyed. Truth is being slowly chipped away at until the kernel of truth is so small that it's so difficult for people to find in those debates. So you have to start, okay, well, where's the starting point? Like what do we go back to? What is the very heartbeat of truth? And the heartbeat of truth has to be absolute. It has to be an objective reality. And the objective reality for truth is Christ.
I love the way he explained that. I love the way he laid that out. It was so clear. The analogy was on point about the kernel thing of truth. I just enjoy the way he explains himself. But the point is that what he's saying is that every time he's in these debates with conservatives or in politics, that everybody's debating, but nobody's grounded in the objective truth of God, right? That the message that Jesus sent, nobody's grounded in that. And I agree. And really quick points I want to make, and then I'll get to the calls, is that people lost common sense. It just comes down to that. It really comes down to that. There is a guiding light that's within all of us, right? Our intuition within, which is the spirit within, right? Whatever you want to call it, that guides us in all things. right? And the more we lean onto it, and the more we learn God's nature, right? Love, the more we understand what love is, then we're guided by what we know to be true. But when you have a bunch of other people and, society over time tends to fall away from these things and distort the message and say all kinds of things and all kinds of weird teachings and your upbringing and your parents teaching you things that aren't true and all this stuff, right? The light within starts to blurry, right? It gets cloudy, right? And then eventually it gets so cloudy that you no longer see the light and you're lost in the wilderness. And that's what I think that he's talking about is it now in conversations, whether it be in conservatism or talks about religion, oftentimes what he's witnessing and most people witnessing is that where are we going with this? Where's this argument going? You know what I mean? Like we're both of us sitting here arguing, but we're not getting to the truth. And yes, there's an objective truth, but what I believe that is just love, right? Knowing how to be of love in that moment, right? Because not every single moment in a discussion calls for you to prove this other person wrong or tell this person about the objective truth of God. No. And that's what a lot of people want to do, right? They want to have answers that they can just use to win arguments or just to whatever. But that's not God's nature. God's nature is of love. And when you're of love and you're present and you're conscious in the moment, you're guided by what you should and shouldn't say and should and shouldn't do, right? When to talk, when to be quiet, and when to speak the word or whatever, or when to speak like the world. That's another thing too. Speak like the world, right? You don't got to sound like a Christian all the time. You know what I mean? So that's what's missing is this common sense, the teacher within guiding the steps, not the mind guiding, which is the thoughts. So we got to get back to common sense, and we can only do that by stop looking at other people to give us the answers, the community, the culture. Stop looking for other people to dictate how we should feel and do. It's okay to take advice and hear people out, but we got to go directly to God. We could go to him directly. God, what do I do? I need some help. Help me out here. I'm lost. What do I do? Lord, help me. Show me the way. Give me a sign. Do me. And he'll do it. If it's genuine, he'll do it. We go directly to him. So that's the answer to me. That's the answer. But let me hear what the people got to say. I got some people on the lines and they want to get in on this. So let me hear what the people got to say. Let's get to the lines. Let me go to Kevin out of New York. Kevin, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Joel? How you doing?
How's it going, Kevin? All is well.
All right, cool. Hey, this is a really good topic that you got.
Right on. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I was calling in to throw in my 2 cents about it. You know what I mean?
Cool.
But to get right to it, the topic of the show is what happened to Christianity. And then I was even listening to a little bit of what Candace and her husband had said, and then what you thought about what they said. And in my opinion, at no point ever in history was Christianity weak. Instead, we should think of it as rather the people who take on the name Christian or Christianity, the people themselves are weak.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know?
100%.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a part of that interview that said, hey, wasn't it Candace talking about hosting for Andrew Tate or something like that. And she
Yeah.
says that, oh, we need to defend it when people disrespect Jesus and stuff like that. Well, I say let them disrespect Jesus.
Yeah.
Let them disrespect Christianity. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
Well, I say this further because, you know, I thought about something as reference to the Bible. Thank God we have this as a reference to go back toward. But there's a part where Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem, I believe, and then he goes on to show his disciples how he was going to suffer prosecution from the church elders and the Jewish leaders and all this, and then ultimately be crucified.
Yeah.
Because of the persecution. And so the disciple who was following Jesus then says to Jesus, you know, Lord, this will not happen to you. Almost as though he's saying, I'm not going to let it happen to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so this is why I like the Bible so much, because it works almost formulaic in a way to where if you come to a deeper understanding of this, you realize that the disciple who said that, Peter himself represents the church in a sense.
Yeah. Man.
And so Jesus being the Word of God, it's the interactions between the church and the Word of God. And so...
go ahead. Finish your point. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And so this is where you get one of Jesus' strongest rebukes against anyone in the New Testament. Jesus' response to Peter was, get behind me, Satan, for you savorest the things of man rather than the things of God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so in a sense, that was Jesus' way of saying to Peter, hey, you know, let this persecution happen. It's the will of my Father that this were to happen to me. You know what I mean?
Interesting points, man. I want to jump in there really quick because I'm running out of time here. Is that interesting points? Yeah, like I love the distinction you made between Peter and Jesus, right? And Peter was the disciple, right? He's the one following Jesus. He's seen Jesus' example firsthand. And yet even Peter is saying like, no, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to allow this to happen. And you're right. That represents the people. And you can't hate the source itself, because the source itself is what's saving you. It's the rejection of the people who mislead or represent the source. But that goes to show a reflection on you as to why are you caring about what people say about it? Why are you caring about how they represent it if you're really searching? You know what I mean? If you're really looking for God, you don't need somebody else's. But I mean, it helps. It's nice to know when you see a good example, right? But at the end of the day, the people aren't Christianity itself, because people have all kinds of different things that they impose on each other. So you make good points there, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. People don't even have to go as far as to defend their stance on Christianity. They really, really don't. There's another part of the Bible, I don't know where this is said, but there's another part of the Bible that fits really nicely with this, because it goes on to say that the foolishness of God is stronger than the foolishness of man, or the weakness of God is stronger than the weakness of man. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But it's basically to put the point that there is no weakness, there is no, you know what I mean, lacking in the true way.
Exactly. And
God being who he is, there's no need to put up a defense for him.
Right. Just trust the process. And you make another good point as well, an interesting point about how Jesus was even saying his persecution was of God's will, when most of the world would think that, well, how could this be of God? Why would God, like, it had to happen. That's why you just got to let go and go with the flow of life and don't have an opinion and that's what Peter did. Peter had an opinion about the persecution being wrong. He judged it and said, this is going to be wrong, and I'm not going to let this happen to you because you don't deserve that, or whatever he said, right? But in Jesus's mind, him knowing the truth, he knew that this is what needed to happen. So we got to get out of the mind and thinking we know everything and stop judging every situation and just trust whatever we're going through. God is with us, and he's showing us the way. But I appreciate it, Kevin. I'm low on time, so I can't go too long with you. But amazing points. Any last comments before I move the calls?
Oh, you really hit the bullseye with that. You know, it was simply that Peter saw himself as the protector of Jesus, the protector of the Word of God.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And even then, he didn't listen because he goes on to cut off the ear of the one of the soldiers trying to arrest Jesus, you know what I mean?
It still get still get caught up. But I guess he meant well in his pursuits. But yeah, he's a reflection of people just being people, right? People being fallen and learning on the way. But I appreciate it, Kevin, man. Call me again and we'll get into it some more.
Hey, appreciate you, and thanks for the show. Have a good one, everyone.
Yeah, no problem. Nice. Let me move the calls here. Let me go to C-Sal out of Texas. C-Sal, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Joe. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem. How you doing, C-Sal?
Doing well, yes. I agree with the previous caller. Amazing topic. And just really quick, I think the temptation right now is for Christians to act like the rest of the world, to act like the Muslims, because the Muslims will murder you if you attack Allah or if you blaspheme their religion or whatever.
Yikes.
And in on surface level,
how do we know, really quick though, Lizzie Sale, just really quick, how do you know that the Muslims will do that if you reject it?
For years, I've been seeing, on the news and just everywhere online. I personally don't know any Muslims, but
so online
it's
allegedly. I just gotta say it for the sake of my channel.
Sorry, Sorry.
Well, go ahead, make your point.
Allegedly, and it's tempting, but the entire New Testament, the Bible in general, teaches us that the opposite is what we're supposed to do. When you feel like punching someone in the face for saying something or whatever, what would Jesus do? That's not what Jesus did. Jesus told Peter, they're going to arrest me and then they're going to spit on me, torture me, crucify me. And then if I needed help, do you not think that I could call dozens of angels to protect me? But it's the will of God, right?
Yeah.
So the way that we win, I think the way is not fighting and being violent like they are, like the world is, but it's number one at home. So it starts at home, your wife submitting to you, obeying you, Lord. And it starts in the government. Whoever controls the government controls the nation. It starts in Christians getting involved in schools, in the government, in all the positions of power, so that godly people have control.
100%. And you're right. And when it comes to the religion or Christianity saying, I'm going to be spit on, or I'm going to get punched, I'm going to get beat up, God knew and Jesus knew in that moment that what was controlling these people was evil and they couldn't see. So how are you going to take revenge or protect yourself against somebody who is blind and reacting based off of pain that they're dealing with? So he understood that. That's why he didn't fight back. But great points, C-Sal. We do need to have people in government and in society who are strong Christians who know God within and not because they heard God is good or whatever. So right on. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
And call me again.
Bye-bye.
All right. I'm going to keep moving the calls here, but I'm going to say this real quick. You guys know I got to have some commentary after every call. It wouldn't be me if I didn't do it. All right? So you see, I make some good points there. And so, great call so far. So did I'm not saying every single moment is a moment to look the other way, right? But I understand a little bit more the reasons why Jesus allowed this stuff to happen, turning the other cheek, is because if you truly saw that the only reason why somebody is seeking revenge on you is because they are lost and hurting inside, right? And taking revenge on you is what makes them feel better, but it's only due to a void that they're trying to fill, you would allow it, right? And I'm not saying that's why you be led in the moment, right? So don't just say, well, I'm just gonna, because I don't know what you should do in every moment. I don't know. I'm still learning this. But Jesus knew the intention of the person and that they were only doing it to make themselves feel better. So why is Jesus in that moment gonna take revenge on somebody who is really acting out because they have no love, right? They have no love. They only have pain, heartache. So what they're really doing is expressing their sadness within, their depression within, right? And Jesus knew that. So he had no reason to take revenge on them and to make them learn the lesson when what he really wanted to do is show them love. And that's the ultimate amount of courage right there is to see that. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't personal to Jesus. It wasn't personal. It's never personal that I'm taking my revenge out on you. It's never personal. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me, right? And that's why it says love your enemies, because your enemy need love, right? They really just need a hug instead of a hit. But know for yourself, because maybe sometimes they need a hit. I don't know. I'm learning it too. But anyway, moving to calls. Let me go to Serge from out of Texas. Serge, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Thanks, Joel. I wanted to give my little 2 cents of why I think that Islam appears to be more masculine.
Nice.
It's based off of like you notice like all the fighters and stuff like that, they convert to Islam more so than Christianity.
Oh, interesting.
Like UFC fighters and boxers.
Interesting.
Right? Because it seems like it's like like Cecil said, it seems like it's a more authoritative type of religion, like a fighting. People think that of their own works, they think that that's like if they fight for something, that's love. Because we've been taught that that emotional, like God has wrath. So they think that if you're a part of Islam, and we know them to be people of wrath, like Cecil said, they defend in the name of Allah. And
right.
As opposed to Christians, our thought process is, it's supposed to be see it for yourself, and we're taught to turn the other cheek because of ourselves we can do nothing.
Right.
So they see that as a weakness,
right?
When it's really a strength.
That's actually a good point, man. That's an interesting observation. I'm not too familiar with Islam and what they believe, so I can't say that what you're saying is definite. But from observation standpoint, I do notice that people tend to view a lot of these things that are perceived in Christianity as weak, but they actually are strength. It takes strength to, and even though it's not of ourselves, but it takes strength to not retaliate, right? Because everything in us wants to win. Everything in us wants to dominate, especially if we feel offended or take things personal. So it makes sense why fighters and all that stuff by nature just want to be justified in their actions of seeking revenge or getting into trouble. So,
And Joel, look at this. Look at how the men, they have authority over the woman. But and the women, they want the men to have authority over them, but it's under the intellectual knowledge of the Quran. And I think that that's why they like it, because it holds the woman to that. And I think that in Christianity, it's the same thing, right? The only difference is the woman covers up because she knows that that's not appropriate. Like there's no intellectual knowledge that she has to subscribe to. She does it because she knows it's not healthy to do that.
To do what?
And so
to do what?
Well, to be going out there showing cleavage, revealing the cheeks, and so she covers up because she wants to cover up, not because intellectually she's being told to cover up. And I think that's the difference. Back to my point about that false sense of authority. The men like that they can be in authority, and the women like the men being in that authority. I just think that personally for me, that it's better for the woman to naturally want to do that.
So do you think
like
that
she knows it in herself?
So do you think that that women wanting to be under authority and men wanting to be in an authoritative position is natural, or it's a fallen idea?
Do I think it's natural? Yeah, I think it's natural.
Oh, okay, because I'm not sure. I wasn't sure what you were saying. If you were saying that's an intellectual reason why women want to fall underneath authority, or if they actually want to do it because that's the right thing. What does that mean?
I think it's more based on, and I don't know for sure. I'm not those people, right? I only know me, but I think that subscribing to that, the covering of the hair and and wearing this, it's all intellectually done. Because I see those things, and you see them too across social medias. They'll curse you out in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So it's nothing. It's done because it's intellectually done, but it's not done in their hearts. So but they also like being under that. They think it's submission by subscribing to that. Like that's the end all be all of submission.
Yeah.
And the men, because they're provider, they think that it's done. I am the authority in my home because I'm providing. I pay all the bills. My wife doesn't work, but it's a false authority because the real work, the real house to clean is not the outside; it's the inside.
That's 100%, man. Great points. 1,000%. I appreciate it, man.
Yep.
Call me again, Serge.
I will.
All right, man. He's right about that. Is that it feels nice to be dominant. That's actually such a great point. And I'm not going to get carried away with it because I got to get to some other calls. I want to so bad. But I'm going to say a couple of things, just one thing about it, little thing. So right about that, because it feels so good on the outside for a man to feel dominant, right? Feel like the woman just love him. But because he has money or because he is, I don't know, something, right? But the true dominance, the true authority is when you have no idea of it, right? You have no, you're not trying to be dominant. When you're not trying to lead, it just natural in you because that's the order of life, right? And you're not trying to prove to your wife or your girlfriend or whatever that you're the man and she should follow you. No, because that actually makes it worse, right? Because then now you start to whatever. But the point is that when it's natural, authority is natural, it's not what you think authority is going to be. And that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But he's right about that. Anyway, let's go to, I'm running out of time here, but let's go to William out of California. William, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, how you been doing, brother?
All is well, William. How are you?
All right. You said something about what is a conservative?
Um, what do you
I think
mean?
you had something about what do you think a conservative is? Is it when I was responding to that?
Well, hold on one second. Hold on one second, William.
Maybe you.
Derek, check with William really quick because I'm not quite sure his point. Just check with him really quick and see what he for sure wants to get into. Let me go to Rick out of
Hold on one second.
Hampton. Rick, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's going on there, Joel? What's happening, my brother?
All is well, Rick. How are you?
I'm fine, man. I just want to respond to, man, what is Christianity, man? And what's happened to Christianity? I think what's happening, man, is it seems like people are getting caught up in the media, social media, and people are in their emotions. People are traumatized. People don't have real peace. So it's not that Christianity has left.
Right.
It's just that people are not stable. A lot of people got trauma ever since they been kids, and now they think they're gonna run around the church and do some laps around the church and think they're gonna cure their trauma.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just people just have unresolved issues which cause them to produce in another way.
Yeah. No, it's interesting point. Yeah, it's that people think that if they just do 1 + 1 = 2, that means they're gonna be okay, and that's all they got to do. Everybody wants to just follow rules, but it's more than that. It's getting to know yourself. It's
right.
Learning and growing and being aware, and that's not hard work. You just have to be aware, right? And you learn and grow over the time.
You all got me to even look at my faith here more. All you guys, man, from Jesse, you, Jays, Nick, Ahmad, all you guys, man, and y'all really got me to look at. It's about the faith within, because you have it within, you're gonna produce it. Produce the fruit. But like we just said, people just got so much trauma, unforgiveness, and anger, man. You couldn't get Christianity out of them you can't get love out of them if you tried to. If you beat it out of them, you couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Until they overcome their trauma, and what a lot of people want you to do is cater to their trauma. So instead of them overcoming, they want you to cater to their weakness.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like if somebody's insecure, instead of them overcoming being insecure, they're ready for you to cater to their weakness, and a person like that will run you crazy, man. You can be trying to be as transparent as you can, but when a person has an insecure issue, it's never enough until they overcome that trauma.
Yeah, they got to do it themselves. They got to work on themselves.
Absolutely.
And everybody wants a quick fix or a quick shortcut, and God doesn't operate that way. Like sometimes people pray because they want an answer because it'll make them feel better, but God doesn't necessarily operate that way. He wants it to be a genuine pursuit, and he wants you to really seek him out. So, there's no shortcuts to doing the right thing.
If we really forgive and have peace, a lot of our answers would be right there, But we don't do that, and God don't like unforgiveness. He can't come dwell in you if you have unforgiveness and anger, man. I mean, that's just like God coming to a filthy house, pretty much.
Yeah.
If you would.
Yeah, good point, Rick. I appreciate it. I'm running out of time here, and I have a couple more calls
problem,
I want to try to squeeze in. But thank you, Rick.
We got cut short, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get him back on right now in these last couple of minutes.
Okay, so hurry, get the Godfather back on. All right, love y'all. Be blessed.
All right, appreciate it, Rick. Have a good one. Let me go back to William. William, you're back on the air. Go ahead, William.
Okay, man. Sorry about that, man. I didn't. I got off topic. I'm sorry about that. But what happened to Christian? I don't think anything happened to Christianity. I think it's more of people trying to put things in it that don't belong.
Yeah.
I see that quite a bit, because Christianity definitely has nothing to do with the weirdness that they're portraying today.
Yeah, and that's where I think people are getting turned off, and which I can understand a little bit, that when you're not seeing examples of people representing the religion properly, but at the end of the day is that nobody's going to represent it perfect. You got to know what it is for yourself. So, yeah, it's just...
Well, Christianity, definitely everybody that tells you they're a Christian, it does not mean that they're a Christian.
Right.
And definitely, I'm not a Bible thumper. I forgot it was Tuesday. I don't do that, but
yeah,
because it's too personal. But I definitely know that the things that they're portraying today, that they're trying to put on everybody, force on everybody, a lot of the weird things that I just know when they say, I'm a Christian. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Christianity doesn't have anything to do with what your lifestyle is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, but at the end of the day, it's also, that's why we got to also learn to just leave people alone too. If they want to stand up and believe that they're a Christian, it's also not my position to tell them that they're not.
That's true.
Like, go ahead and if you want to be that and call yourself a Christian, go ahead. It has nothing to do with me.
If you want to be a non-conventional Christian, go ahead and be so. But you don't need to promote it on to others.
Right. And to leave it be and we just mind our own business.
Because I guarantee you the group, the bigger part of the group agrees with the traditional side of it.
Yeah.
Now, this new thing with these alphabets and all of that stuff, that's your take. Because I guarantee you the majority doesn't think that.
And, I want
to... Not yours personally.
I know. I'm just saying too, but I also I try to be careful too about where I interject what is fake and what I mean, what is fake and what is not, because I think that it's easy to say that somebody who is homosexual or trans or whatever is not a Christian, but it's not my
and I noticed that you do.
You
do a good job at that. You do a very good job of that. That doesn't mean that others are going to be doing that well.
Well, that's why I want to ask you really quick. Do you think that is our job to do as Christians, to, in your opinion, right? And you may disagree, and that's fine. But do you think that that's our job as Christians to assert whether or not we believe somebody is Christian or not? What do you think?
I don't call me telling you that you're a liar a job.
Oh, okay.
I'm just telling you.
What do you mean?
And that's not personal to you. I said I don't call telling somebody, "Hey, you're a liar." I don't. You go on with that. I don't call that a job.
Right. Because who cares if they're a fake Christian or not?
Yeah. Why are you? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
100%.
Okay, Joel.
Well, I appreciate that, William. Thank you. And call me again, man.
Okay. Take care.
All right. You as well. I'm out of time. But 2 cents. I got 2 more cents. I bring that up to say that let people be. Let people be. Like, JC calls into my show. JC identifies as homosexual. And I think other people have called me into the show. But if they say they're homosexual and a Christian, it is not for me to say that they're not. Right? It is not for me to do. And if I do, then I'm not, it's improper. Because it's not, I don't need to have an opinion about it. Like, if that's how he wants to live his life and that's what he wants to do, then that's fine. That's up to him. And I shouldn't even have to care whether or not he's a real Christian. And I don't really even know. I don't know. Right? So I try to really watch, and that's what I mean by saying, like, what good is it doing being on the side of Christianity and saying somebody else is not a Christian? You know what I mean? What good is that doing going out in the public and saying to the LGBTQ, you're not a Christian, you're an abomination? What good is that doing? If they want to believe that they're a Christian, let them do what they want to believe. Me trying to tell them that they're not, and I could be wrong about this. I could be wrong. But me trying to tell them that they're not is not going to make them think, oh, well, maybe I'm not. No, they should just be able to see and know for themselves. And if they don't, I don't care. I don't care. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You ain't got a key to my house, so I don't got to deal with you. So we just have to be careful on how we react to the world as Christians as well, because Christianity is not that, but we also don't want to Christianity looks like a bad representation, and we don't want to be a part of that at the same time. Anyway, but I appreciate the calls. William, C-Sal, Kevin, Serge, and all the Rick and everybody else who's on the line that I didn't have time to get to. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the chat. Super chats came in. I can't get to them, but I will get to them tomorrow. Tomorrow is my last day of this week. I will not be in the office Thursday or Friday, so I will not have a show on Thursday. I will be out, but I will be back on Monday, per usual, Monday and Tuesday before we go on Christmas break. What the? Christmas coming up. But no Thursday, no Joel Friday on Thursday. Just Joel Monday through Wednesday this week. Okay, so tomorrow will be my last day of this week. So just a little heads up, and we'll pick back up on Monday. Appreciate you guys. American Anchor Baby coming in. You don't want to miss his show. You want to make sure you check him out. And also Punchy TV across the board. Follow everybody, and also follow the Punchy TV network and the show itself. Amazing stuff. Joel Friday TV as well. The Hake Report, American Anchor Baby, Jesse Lee Peterson, and we got more to come. All right, y'all. Until next time, I gotta go. See you on the flip. Have a good day. Bye.